Can women be sexist towards men? To which Ivy, you disagree.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I think that, so like, I think because I went to like a social justice warrior college, I was like, you know, like we learn about like the study of like gender studies and like mostly I did a lot of gender study courses as like part of my GEs, and I learned a lot from it. And one of the things is like, unless you're in I don't quote me, it's been a while since I took those classes, but like unless you're in a position of like power, or you have a hegemonic status, or like you have some influence to like inflict, like to influence another social group or another group, you know, below you or something, then you can't really like be ist towards them, you know, whether it's like racist or sexist. So in our society, we could say like the cisgender male would be someone that has a higher social, and that's not in society, like they have more power, and so as a result, then they would be able to be racist. And whereas I think that a female, even if they were to say things like, oh, I don't know, for example, what, like I can't even think of one off the top of my head, but they were to say something, then
like all men are pigs.
Oh, all men are pigs? Okay, is that what? That's a thing? All men are pigs.
Do you think it's?
Is it all men are pigs?
How about if all women are pigs?
I don't know, because I've heard guys say like, oh, don't trust men, like all men are animals, all men are pigs. Like I've heard men say that. So is this sexist?
Are all women gold diggers? Is that?
I've heard. Oh, I actually not.
Heard it.
I've heard
sexist?
that. Is it? No, I don't think that's. I think being is saying that like because you are a female, you're only capable to do this. I think that is, you know, and then you're saying that because of your gender, then we're not going to give you this raise, right? Then I think it's when your identity as a woman or as a man, or no, identity as a woman is going to influence the way people treat you in a life in a negative way.
What's your definition of?
I think is like, I don't know the I don't want to say like something that, okay, what I think it is like basically someone that is in a position of power is basically prejudiced towards somebody based on a specific, like based on their gender. Yeah, showing prejudice based on their gender. That is in my definition.
So if a woman, a female nurse, has prejudice towards men, and she has access to certain medications in the hospital, and this is actually something that happens, and then she either overdoses these men on the medications they are taking, or gives them medication that they're not taking but would kill them for whatever reason. And she's specifically targeting them because they're men. She's not doing it to women. She has some sort of like gripe specifically against men. Would this be?
I think that because she is in a position of power, right, in that specific circumstance, I do believe so. But I think,
what if she's treating a really rich person?
Oh, I don't think we were talking about wealth at all, right? It was just mainly about, you know, male.
Okay, what about a woman who, let's say a woman kills a bunch of men, but there's not some sort of nurse-patient dynamic. There's nothing like that. She just goes out into the street and just shoots 3 men because she hates men.
Oh, so she's just like a serial killer or something, like a male serial killer.
Sure.
Okay. Is she being? I mean, in my definition, it's like, in my head, it's like, did she do anything in her life to like basically make these men's life worser? Like she just ended it, right? Yeah, she just ended it.
Worse.
Right? Worse.
Wait, so does that make their life worse?
I don't know. It just ended. Like, what is their?
So is it not a big deal?
I don't know. What do they think? Right? I don't know who
They're dead.
They're dead. They don't think anything.
Exactly. So it didn't make their life worse. Some people believe that living is to suffer. So maybe she ended their suffering.
It's the champagne.
How about this? Let me ask you this a different way, maybe.
My face is red.
If I say the following phrase is this: all women are good for is childbearing. Is that
sexist? Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
Okay, is the following phrase: all men are good for is working.
I don't think so. What?
Right. Okay. So now, why is phrase 1, but phrase 2 is not, even though they meet the same criteria?
Okay,
hang on.
If I could,
Both
yeah.
target, hey, wait a second.
Oh.
Both target a specific group. After they've targeted the entirety of that specific group, they give specific qualifiers to that group, expressing that they're only good for X thing and not other things, which meets your definition of prejudice. So why is the first one, but the second one is not?
I think for me, like prejudice is like, yes, it's like some sort of preconceived notion, but what I think is like the next step to make it like is for that saying to actually impact their life. So like if a woman is thought to be only good at childbearing, then any job she applies for, she will not get it, because then the employer will be like, just go have a kid, like don't work, you know. But if a man is all he wants to do is to work, if society saying that all a man can do is to work, and the man wants to be like, I don't know, what else could they, if they want to be like a singer, like they can still do that, right?
Well,
it's like they
would
can
be
work and so if the man wants to, like, I don't know, like relax, I don't even know, like being a worker, everyone works.
Perhaps do other things like, I don't know, be looked at as a sage or giving good advice or things like this, which are not in the category of work. There would become a social stigma against men in those positions, right?
I feel like is giving advice.
And if there's a social stigma in those positions by you making the statement affirmatively that men are only good at working, that would definitionally be right.
I believe that the saying of that all men are good at working, I don't think it's just because I don't think it's going to impact.
No.
Yeah.
Men are only good for work.
They're only good for work. If saying that, I don't think that would negatively impact their life. Like I don't think it would change their quality of life that much.
So if a woman or a collective of women think that my only use in life is to work, that would not negatively impact my life.
And like, can you give me an example of how it would negatively impact your life?
You're dating.
Whatever. So any example that you would give for how the following phrase, all women are good for, is bearing children, however that would negatively affect women, is the exact same way the other statement would negatively affect men by the same criteria, whatever it is.
I just think it wouldn't be the same, because like if you use the first saying where like women are only good for childbearing, and then they try to apply for a job, then the employer's like, no, you can't. Then the woman's like screwed, like they have no money, they can't feed themselves, they don't have a home, like they don't have
and if you
roof
only
over
say
their
that
head.
about men, and if you only say that about men, then they could be disqualified from other things like sagely advice, being looked at as beacons of honor, rather than just.
And I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's not as bad.
Stop.
Yeah.
Let me finish. Beacons of honor instead of workhorses. There's all sorts of negative impacts which could happen to them because they're only viewed as being work mules. How is that not the same thing? It's a negative impact, right? A social negative impact from the perspective of men, just like that's a social negative impact from the perspective of women. So I could make the counter argument to you and say, it's actually good that employers are discriminating against them, because then they don't have to work. Based, right? But that wouldn't make it, you would say, no, you would dispute that, because you'd say, well, women don't want that. Well, men don't want to be viewed as only being workhorses. So how is it that that's not to men?
Because I think about the base.
I'll let you respond
Michael
right
Jones
after this.
donated
I have to let it come in.
$200.
Thank you, Michael.
Sexism is prejudice or discrimination based on a person's or gender. The whole idea that is prejudice plus power is only held by people with room temperature IQ. Chair 4 is Delulu. High chair 8.
Thank you, Michael Jones. Sorry for the delay on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I want to respond to that.
It can also lead to biases in the court for you being a good father or things like that, because you're only viewed, of course, as being good for work.
Okay, I can see that, like that impacting and like the court of law. Like usually maybe children are given to the mom because they think the mom
Yeah, you're
can take
only
better.
good for work.
I can see that. Yeah, but I would say like the fact that I think that as humans
So
we
then
need.
wouldn't that be?
I mean, I think about like your experience in life, right? As humans, we basically just need like I said, money, food, shelter. So if a woman cannot get a job based on like this stereotype or this prejudice, then that actually affects her ability to access those necessities.
If
Whereas
men
a
can't
man,
get access to their kids because they're only viewed as being workhorses and not as being paternal,
yes,
then that would negatively affect men, and that is
Yes.
what is currently happening. Yeah.
yes, and I believe,
Okay.
and
Well,
I'm
then
not,
how's
yeah.
that not?
And I'm not saying that's like a bad. Yeah, I guess so. I guess I can concede to that. Yeah, it is. Yeah, because it's like
You did it.
yeah, I think so.
Wow, that's a first.
That was a great
why?
debate. You just-
I think that like if someone's speaking facts.
By the way, that argument that came in from the chat, that wasn't mine. I was going a different direction. Somebody else threw it out there. Credit where credit's due.